I'm sitting here getting ready. I just got home from work, and I'm sitting here getting ready to do this video on HBO. And I just see the news pop up of Billy Joe Saunders failing a drug test. This is exactly why boxing is in its current state. Exactly why. I mean, I was just like literally the middleweight video was the next video that I was going to speak on. And I was going to talk about that fight. And now that I see that Saunders, who is one of the top dogs at the middleweight division, is probably most likely going to get suspended and possibly stripped too of his title. And I was going to make a video about HBO. I just found out the news that it's dead. It's over. It's over. And it's sad. It's really sad because it really goes to show where the current state of boxing is. HBO, I've been a subscriber to HBO for years, along with Showtime. It usually comes with the cable package, whatever cable package you have. I have Spectrum now. Before I had Verizon Fios. Before I moved out of my house, I had Verizon Fios. And before that, I had Cablevision. And pretty much you get HBO, Showtime. It usually comes, both of them come together in the premium package or whatever. And there's one thing that I've always noticed, and I was always annoyed with HBO. We've gotten PBC a few years ago, and streaming really started. More recently, ESPN really started taking boxing seriously, and now everything with Top Rank is being streamed on ESPN, and then The Zone just recently came out. But Showtime was always on top of their streaming game. Showtime had Showtime Live. And even if I'm home working, sometimes I do work Saturday nights. So even when I'm at work, I'm still able to watch the fights on Showtime. Plus, PBC, if they were to have fights on, all of the other channels that they have, like NBC or CBS or whatever channel, whatever channel that they would have their fights on, you would be able to stream, because all of these channels are major primetime channels. So they all had streaming apps on their, on your phone or your iPad or whatever you're capable of getting. I recently got me an Apple TV a couple months ago, and now like when I stream something from my phone, I can just plug it to the television and watch it from there. But HBO was the only one that did not have any type of streaming services. And you would have HBO Go, where you can go back and watch old fights or, movies and stuff like that. And then if you want to subscribe directly to HBO, you can subscribe by paying a monthly fee for HBO Now. But there's no option to watch HBO Live. And it's been like this. It's never been available, period. And I'm like, well, as time to go on, and if I'm not capable of watching a fight on Saturday night live on television, I can't watch the fight, period. I would have to wait until, unless I DVR it and wait till I get home, or wait till I have the time to watch it. I would have to watch it later. I can't watch it from my phone, not live. So that always really annoyed me, and then I would have to go and find links of the fight and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm paying a premium fee to have HBO to watch boxing. I mean, some of the major fighters that we had over the years, we have Canelo, we had Triple G, we had Andre Ward, we had Lomachenko, we had Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao. I could go on and on. There's so many major fighters on HBO that have contracts with HBO, but we can't watch it live. And that really, really annoyed me over the years. And I always wondered why they wouldn't update it where we can watch it live on apps and stuff like that. And now I see why. They pretty much knew that they weren't going to last, and we've heard rumors about this for a couple years now. I know there were some YouTubers talking about this, and you knew it was coming, but now that it came, I'm actually kind of sad, because everything is really going to streaming. But it doesn't feel the same with boxing, right? Because you follow other sports, like you follow baseball, basketball, football, the major sports that's here in America, right? The thing about these other sports is like you have access to watch any of these games, you know? Yeah, they have premium channels, premium subscriptions to watch, you know, like certain games that, you know, they're not showing on the channels, the local channels that you have, right? But you still have access to these sports. You know, boxing is not always available, you know? So you can stream these other sports, but it's more like it's like an extra. It's like a bonus, you know? Normally you can just turn on any TV and watch any basketball game. I watch a lot of basketball, so you can watch basketball. It's not that hard. You know, the games, most of the games that I want to see, I can watch it. You know, I usually rarely ever watch a game from my phone. But boxing is becoming where you have to watch, you have to stream it first. Maybe you get it on television. For the majority of the time, though, you have to stream it now. You know? And at first, I wasn't with it. You know, when ESPN, when Top Rank started showing their fights, I don't know if it was the Lomachenko fight, his last fight, or was Terrence Crawford with Horn, or maybe the fight before that. But I remember one of their fights, it was just exclusive to the app. Like we were all, I know a lot of people were looking on ESPN. We know Terrence Crawford had a fight coming up, and we're looking on ESPN. I think it was his last fight at 140. And we were looking for it, and I'm like, I can't find it. And then I found out that I had to subscribe to this ESPN app. And I didn't want to do that. I'm like, I don't want to watch it on my phone. I want to watch it on television. You know, this is ESPN. Why isn't it ESPN, ESPN2? None of them are showing it. And I'm like, all right, this is going to be a app thing. And I think that's a cool feature, but it shouldn't be the main thing, you know? That really made me realize how much boxing is just not popular. It's not popular. You know, it's like when you find a boxing fan, like a friend that is a fan of boxing, you like instantly become best friends, because it's like being a fan of something that most people don't watch. You know? It's like let's say you're an anime fan. Like I love anime, right? You guys know in my old house, I used to do some videos in my basement sometimes, and people would speak on my collection that was on the wall. I had a huge anime DVD collection. Look at my old videos in my basement. There was a huge anime DVD collection I had from when I was younger, you know, that I used to collect. Most of those are old, but, you know, I still watch some stuff. And, you know, with that, you find a person that's into it, you'll talk about it or whatever, because not most people just don't follow it. And that's how boxing is today. They know most people know the major boxers, but still, boxing famous is not on a level as baseball famous or soccer famous or basketball famous or anywhere close to like football famous or anything like that. You know, it's just not, even the most famous guys are not really that famous outside of like Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. Even Canelo, who is like the cash cow of boxing, I feel like people don't really still like know him like that. Like people know of him, but people ain't really thinking about him unless he has a fight coming up. You know, it's just not on the same level. You know, even guys like Adrian Broner, you know, people know of him, but you don't get that same feel of a famous boxer like you do with other sports. So it's sad, you know, it's sad. I mean, look at the YouTube community, right? The YouTube community, the boxing community is strong, but same with boxing. Like YouTube boxing channels are small compared to, you know, other things that's on YouTube. You know, I follow a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube, you know, when it comes as far as channels is concerned. You know, I follow UFC channels or basketball channels. I follow car channels. Car channels. If you're into cars, it's easy for you to get 1 million subscribers if you have a car channel. Look at the major car channels. They get up to 1 million. They get up to 100K like this. Because people are just, the fan base of cars is just so much bigger. Even like anime, like crazy. It's so many different things that I follow. Even if, you know, whether you're talking about politics, everything. It seems like boxing, the big boxing channels, the majority of them, the biggest ones are usually the media channels. But the media channels are nowhere near as big. It's just not a market for boxing like that. You know? And all the bullshit that's involved with boxing, like, we don't even get, it's less popular, and then at the same time, we usually don't get the fights that we want to see. You know, fights are just not scheduled. You know, at least with the UFC, you know, I was looking at the other day, and I'm just rambling. I'm just giving you my thoughts on, you know, HBO. I'm not even really speaking about HBO specifically. I'm just telling you about how I see the current, you know, the state of boxing. You know, I saw a thing yesterday where John Jones from the UFC might be coming back to fight Gustafsson again. You know, and we all know that was a big fight if you're into the UFC. And John Jones has been suspended for popping on a drug test, and he's been out not fighting for, I don't know, it's been like at least 18 months, two years since his last fight, when he beat Daniel Cormier, but he failed the drug test after. And he's coming back right away to fight a really good fighter, a fighter that gave him one of his hardest fight, if not his hardest, toughest fight, as his first fight back. Yet we're sitting here talking about boxers where Keith Thurman, or like, you know, he's been out on an injury and he's coming back, and he's probably going to take at least 2 tune-up fights before even fighting a real good opponent. That's the way boxing works today. You know, guys need as many tune-ups as possible. That's just the way it is. Where in the UFC, you're the champion, and then you fight the #1 ranked guy 90% of your fights. This is why none of those guys are undefeated, because they have to consistently fight the best next opponent all the time. You know, and we always, it's not the first time I brought it up. We always bring it up, but that's why I feel like that sport is going to last longer, because you're at least getting what you pay for. They don't settle for shitty tune-ups. We, you know, their fans, they're not going to settle for that. It doesn't work that way. Whereas we have to get the tune-ups. You know, we even give out fighters excuses all the time. Like, this guy just had 2 tough fights. He deserves a tune-up. Even the fans are so, we're conditioned into thinking that these fighters really deserve tune-ups. But if you really think about it, when you're getting millions per fight and you're the champion, you really don't deserve tune-ups. You deserve to fight the best fighters. But we're conditioned into thinking like that because that's what we've been getting for years. And it's just, people are not into it no more, man. People are tired of it. There's a lot of people that they just abandoned the sport because they was just tired of the bullshit. I mean, look at the last 3 videos that I put out. We're sitting here going back and forth talking about the politics of one fight. I made 3 videos about one fight. Well, 2 fights really, because I was speaking on Anthony Joshua and Povetkin. And that I made 2 additional videos talking about Wilder and Fury and the politics behind Joshua and Wilder. But, you know, I haven't been making videos for like 4 or 5 months or so. Look at the channels that are on here every single day talking about politics. They'll make 50 videos talking about the politics and then make 2 or 3 talking about the actual fight. You know, that's what this sport is. This is what the YouTube community is. This is what the media, the boxing media is. We're talking about the politics. Guys failing drug tests, injuries, you know, promoter beef, network beef. This is what we're doing. Nobody want to hear that shit. People want to fight. People want to see fights, good ones. You know? It's very unfortunate that HBO had to go out like this. Where are all of these fighters going to go? I mean, we already know Top Rank found a new home with ESPN. I believe Golden Boy is going to go to ESPN as well. ESPN has a relationship with Oscar. He's always up there whenever he has a fight coming up. I believe that he's going there. I don't think he's going to the Zone or Showtime. You know, I think he's already ruined his relationship over there with Showtime. So I believe he's going to ESPN. I'm sure he knew that this was coming. But what about all of the other fighters? You know, that's not with Oscar. That's not with Eddie Hearn. What's going to happen there? We just saw Joshua and Povetkin fight. I saw the fight for free. That's a pay-per-view caliber fight that I just saw for free. You know, by getting a free trial of the Zone. But I'm not going to end it. You know, I remember when I first subscribed to ESPN, I ended it after I saw the fight I wanted to see. But then there was another fight. You know. It was Terrence Crawford. Then it was a Lomachenko fight. Then it was Terrence Crawford. And I'm like, shit, I might as well just stick to him. Because I'm going to keep coming back. You know, that's how they get you. But still, like, you get so much more. It's like, how are they even making money? Because you download ESPN, you're still getting a whole bunch of other sports. You're not like specifically just downloading. I mean, I am, but you get so much more, you know, and paying a $5 a month subscription or $10. Are they really capable or making profits with that? I have no idea. The Zone is still starting out. It's just starting out. So, you know, I know it's going to be tough and rough for them, but I know they're not making the money that they used to. There's no way they can be. And I really don't care. You know what? To be honest, I'm so disappointed in just everything with boxing and the fans, and, you know, the level of fanboyism is just out of control. None of these promoters are really great. You know, none of them. This is why when I make videos, I make things from a case-by-case basis. Sometimes I can defend a fighter that I was just ripping in another video. Because it really depends on what they're doing and what kind of moves are made. Really don't like any of these promoters. I don't like the boxing organizations. I think they're all a bunch of snakes. They're all inconsistent. They're all about their own profits. You know? Fights are not scheduled. You don't fight the best all the time. You fight whoever they choose to put you up against. Even the fighters, what do they say most of the time? Who do you want to fight next? Most of the time they're saying, oh, I'll fight anyone. I'll fight, you know, sit down with my team. We hear that shit all the time. But people are tired of it. HBO was the first to go. It was the first victim. You know? I hope the Zone becomes successful. You know, I haven't had a chance to speak about it. You know, but I see that they picked up a lot of fighters. You know, Andre is getting an opportunity. I'm happy for him. Fortunately, Billy Joe just failed on drug tests. So, but he'll have other opportunities. There's a lot of boxers there. You know, I know a lot of people here hate Eddie Hearn. Like people like him and Bob Arum and Oscar and whatever. But, you know, to be honest with you, all of them are the same. All of them, none of them are really here to give the best fights. Some might give some better fights in other different times, but it's all strategic with them. All of them. Al Heyman, all of them. You know, Barrett, you know, Frank Warren. All of these guys are the same. All these promoters are the same. You know, I look at things as by a case-by-case basis, but we don't get consistent good boxing. But I hope they all succeed because I want boxing to last. I really do. I want it to last. I'm a big fan, clearly. I want PBC. When PBC came out, a lot of these channels on here was hating on PBC. They wanted it to fail. Now that DAZN is out, people want DAZN to fail. And I'm like, for what? It's more boxing. A lot of people that were fighting on HBO is going to fight on DAZN now. Showtime is still around. I expect Showtime to stay. I don't know what kind of profits they're making with boxing, but at least they have a streaming service, and they're connected and linked to Al Heyman and PBC. I like the commentary over there better. I've liked Showtime better. I've liked a lot of boxers on HBO better, but I've liked Showtime better over the last few years now. It seemed like they just been putting out more fights. HBO have had long gaps. That's when I knew HBO was coming to an end. Outside of the fact that they didn't provide a streaming service, I knew HBO was coming to an end because of the long gaps of not having fights. There was this long periods. And it seemed like whatever fighter they had, they were like overly super hyping them. They was, Chocolatito, Triple G is a very good fighter. I'm not trying to say he's not, but I didn't like what they were doing with as far as his, comparing him with historically. They was boosting up his record more than they should have been. I personally feel that he dominated a weaker middleweight division, and then fortunately for him, he started fighting the very, very toughest opponents in his mid-30s, but I also believe Bilal Hopkins had an easy middleweight, dominated the middleweight division when it was kind of weak too, especially beating guys like Tito and Oscar coming up in weight and stuff. Smaller guys beating them. He's a 175 pounder. He retired at that. I think the real middleweights are from the 80s. My favorite middleweights. But anyway, I'll speak on that another time. But yeah, I just don't, I don't know. It's over. Is it going to affect boxing? I think all of these places is just going to find a new home. It's not going to be on television, and I think that takes the fun out of it, It's more streaming, streaming is cool, but are these big fights are going to be streamed, or are they going to be having it at fight parties? Like, are people going to go to the bar to watch the streamed fight? That sounds weird to me. Usually when we watch a big fight, it's a pay-per-view, HBO, Showtime. Stream means, especially at this point, stream usually means a fight that's not as big. I want you guys to actually respond to what I just said. Do you feel like when a fight is being streamed instead of being televised, that it's like a lesser fight? Now, as a boxing fan, like I said, we just had Joshua Povetkin, and that's a pretty big heavyweight fight. But being that it was streamed and not televised, doesn't it feel like that's a lower fight? Like, picture Canelo and Triple G again. Now, that would be pay-per-view. But how? It's not going to be HBO pay-per-view. And they're not Showtime. Feels kind of weird, right? When a fight is not pay-per-view. Pay-per-view, like, I'm glad it's gone because me personally, my interest is in boxing. But I'm saying the overall market is just, I just feel like it took a hit when it comes just straight streaming. That goes back to what I was saying earlier in this video about the other major sports, and in this country at least, we watch it on television, but we use streaming as an option. It's just an option. When you have to go to boxing, you have to go to stream when it comes to boxing. I don't know. It's like, what if movies just came straight to DVD? What if the Avengers came straight to DVD? There was never a movie premiere, a movie theater premiere. I mean, am I going somewhere with that? I would like you guys to like respond to that. I just think it took a hit by HBO shutting down. HBO stops boxing because they feel that the boxing market is just not big enough to continue. And they're right, it's not. But I blame the current state. I blame the way it is. It's just we're not getting good fights. There's plenty of talent out there. It's just we have to get consistent fights. They have to change the culture of boxing. But you can't because too many people's hands are involved. Why would they change it and lose money? These are all investments, these fighters, in the order they face certain opponents. Sad day. HBO's been around forever, Even looking at old fights every once in a while on YouTube and seeing the old intro, the old HBO. You see the HBO things driving through the street, home box office. Man, when I was a kid, I used to watch that and be just like, it's like you grew up watching it and now it's done. It's not even there. It doesn't even exist. And I can't even say like boxing is evolving. It's not really evolving. It's just straight up declining. It's just, I don't know, man. I think going to fights live is always going to be cool, but I don't know. Not having that TV, not watching it on TV kind of makes it, Anyway, I'm going to stop it there. I didn't mean to speak this long. Rest in peace, HBO. I think, like I said, I think all these fighters are going to find a new home. All these promoters, I'm sure they're already working this all out. I'm sure they knew back then, but it's done. Let me know what you guys think, all right? Peace.